guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing to you an ultimate guide for PCM 2024, the Pro Cyclist Mode, where you can race in the cycling calendar with a rider of your choice and build him as you want. So, I'm going to talk about the build, on it the available axes you can choose from, then rider potential. After that, what you should choose to build a Grand Tour winner, a classic rider, a guy to win one-day races and short tours, also some tips to build a sprinter, a rider to give you a lot of wins. And finally, we are going to take an in-depth look at the rider stats, every single stat. The second section of this tutorial, I'm going to talk about training, starting with the mechanics of it, both the season planning and the weekly one, then giving you some tips on how you should set up your first season training regime, and finally how you should set up your training regime or on a season you have some objectives. Third section of this guide, I'll talk about leveling up your rider and skills, starting with the available skills to choose from, my advice on which are the best ones and the ones that you should choose first, and which ones are bad and you should choose last, because when you max level your rider you are going to have every single skill. To the end of the third section, I will tell you when you should choose between improving attributes or do an evolution of potential, my opinion on that at least. And finally, the last section of this tutorial, racing, with some race examples, starting with the manager orders that you get once you are in race, as soon as you start each race. Then the in-race mechanics, all buttons and all bars and what that means, what you can do with your rider and teammates if you are the team leader for that race, that particular race. And finally, I'll bring you two race examples, one of a mountain stage with a climber, the other one a bunched sprint with a fast rider. Hopefully this guide will help you to achieve success in this game on the Pro Cyclist Mode. So, in order to start the Pro Cyclist Mode from the main menu, you choose the first option, single player, then Pro Cyclist, and then you are presented with the database selection. For this guide, I'm going to choose the default one because the WorldDB is going to take a lot to simulate, and the default one has fewer races, so it's much faster to simulate. Then you create a game, and after a short loading, which we are now, we are now in the creation of our rider screen. As you can see in this one, you can edit the rider's last and first name, his nationality, height and weight. Take note that both height and weight do not affect your skills as a rider, but only the avatar in race of him. And the last option of this screen is the skin color, and if your rider has facial hair or not. So I'm going to disable the facial hair right now. For the purpose of this guide, I'll leave everything on default except the names, the last name and the first name, which I will call it last name guide and the first name Ultimate. Yes, I can write. Okay. Then I'll leave everything on default and I'll click next. So we are in step 2 on the creation of our rider. So, and in this screen is the most important part of your rider creation build, choosing your axis and your rider potential. First, I'll clear the secondary axis right now, so we can clearly see which stats are affected as I select the available options on the primary axis. You have the options to choose from stage races. Here, stage races. The game is quite good to give you a brief description on the selected axis. So the stage races, the rider is quite versatile and will excel above all in the mountains and on time trials. This is the ideal type of rider if one ever hopes to win a race like the Tour de France. If you want a rider to win tours with mountains, get and time trials like the Grand Tours, this is a must axis to choose from. And as you can see, once we choose the stage races, the main impact on the stats are mountain, medium mountain, hills, time trial and prologue. We can see that because the stats range from 50 to 85, 85 being the maxed stat and 50 the lowest one. And as you can see, and even the recovery is good for the stage races. Of course it is, because stage race is a rider designed for grand tours and tours with a lot of races, so recovery is very important for that, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Then we've got the climber axis. Let me just clear the secondary one. The climber only yearns for one thing: cross mountain passes faster than his opponents. He's relatively light and can make powerful attacks in the mountains thanks to tremendous acceleration. He's a stage hunter, but when the terrain allows it, he can also look to well place in races like the Tour de France, meaning you are going to be a very good rider for the mountain, as you can see here on the stats, even on the hills, but very bad on time trial. So it's only good for tours that do not have time trial, or tours where you can win a lot of time in the mountains and neglect the time trial. Acceleration very good as well. It's even the better stat, so you are going to be very fast. Acceleration meaning the point that you the time that you take from the speed that you are to the max speed that the rider can achieve. So then, after climber, we've got time trial. And time trial, the time trial specialist is a doubtably interesting rider. Firstly, because he can deliver victories in time trial races, and secondly, because many stage races are decided on the time trial, allowing him to occasionally figure amongst the leaders in the general classification of these races. So tours which don't have mountains, which have only hills or flat stages, and the main difference is the time trial. So as you can see, you are going to be very good on flat, but especially time trial and prologue, and even on the downhill. Then we can see the next axis, it's going to be sprinter, and the sprinter is usually the rider who gains the most victories in a season. He needs a team working for him, as well as flattish terrain to fully express himself. For the most part, his role is to spare on effort for 200 kilometers in order to give all he's got in the last 200 meters. So it's going to be very good on flat, as you can see, very bad on mountain, but especially good on sprint and acceleration. These two combine very well, because sprint is the top speed that a rider can achieve, and the acceleration, the time that he can achieve that top speed, and very good on downhill as well. After that, we've got puncher. Oh yes, puncher. I like puncher very much. The puncher is an all-around rider endowed with exceptional abilities to make short bursts of effort in order to attack in the final stretch of a race and then to hold out to the finishing line. He's formidable on short climbs and can aim for victories in the most prestigious classics of the race calendar, such as Liège-Bastogne-Liège, which means he is a monument seeker. So Milano-San Remo, Liège-Bastogne-Liège, in Lombardia is going to be for a puncher. Very proficient on flat, very good, not very good, but good on mountain and medium mountain, but especially good on hills, and acceleration a little bit just like the climber, but sacrificing the mountain and medium mountain for hills, while the climber will be more specialized on mountain and medium mountain and have less flat. Then we've got the Northern Classics. So the Northern Classics rider, the Northern Classics specialist, is a rugged rider who can cross cobble sections as if it was nothing special, and also has extraordinary endurance, allowing him to figure amongst the leader in classics such as Paris-Roubaix. Yeah, that's essential. If you want to win Paris-Roubaix, you have to choose Northern Classics as your main axis or your secondary axis, because you have to be very good on cobbles. And as you can see, this is a very good rider on cobbles, very good on flat, very good on cobbles, very good on downhill, good stamina and resistance, and sacrificing a lot on mountain and medium mountain and time trial, even good on hills as well, because there's some hills on the Northern Classics as well. Finally, the last axis is Bardet, and Bardet is a rider who is fond of flat and gently rolling terrain. He can either take part in long breakaways and hold off the peloton, or be a luxury team member. His qualities as a relais allow him to do the work of several riders when it comes to driving a peloton. Indeed, and you can see there on the stats, it's the only main axis that gives you green stats, meaning above 70, starting with 70 on flat and 71 on Bardet, and very all good all around, as you can see. Not on mountain, mountain is his worst stat, but very good. Good on medium mountain, good on hills, even good on time trial and prologue, very good on cobbles and sprint. Acceleration downhill is very good, and the physical ones, except the recovery stat, is very good as well. And now let's talk about the rider potential here. We've got 4 options. You can choose one of those 4 options, each one in descending order on your rider max stats potential, as well on how many XP points your rider will get at each month turn, starting with 50 points in each month turn with Grand Champion potential, down to 35 on the very good one. So this, besides the number of points that it gives you on each month turn, it will decide the max attribute, that the max potential attribute that you have. So Grand Champion will give you the most potential points on the attributes, while the very good one will give you the lowest. So point number 3 of this build is my advice to you on what you should choose to create a Grand Tour winner. Choose stage races for that. I think it's the best. I think it's the only option if you want to win Grand Tours, and I like very much so to pair it with puncher, because if you see, this combination will give you pretty decent flat, very good mountain, very good medium mountain, very good hills, good acceleration, good time trial, good prologue, and very good physicals. As you can see, very all-around rider, except on cobbles and on sprint. You are going to be very bad on sprint and on cobbles, but for a Grand Tour I think that's the best option. You can also switch the secondary axis to time trial which will make you even a deadlier weapon, because you will get even more flat. You are not so good on hills, but you are very good on time trial, as you can see. So you sacrifice a little bit on the medium mountains and hills, meaning you are going to sacrifice on your ability to win one-day races, especially monuments, but you are going to focus a lot on time trial and will be a menace in the time trial sections. For the Grand Tours, you are going to win time on everybody. For a climber, a one-day racer rider to win monuments, to win one-day races, my suggestion is going to be Puncher as the main axis and Northern Classics as the secondary one, and you are had to win all monuments: Paris-Roubaix, Vlaanderen, Lombardia, Milano-San Remo and Liège-Bastogne-Liège, because you are going to be very good on flat, you are going to be good at climbing. Time trial is the thing that you are going to sacrifice, so you are not going to be good on tours. Cobbles, you are going to be good. You are very decent on sprint, very good on acceleration and downhill, and very good physicals, except recovery. So recovery meaning the stat that is useful for tours. So as I stated, you are not going to be very good on tours, but you are going to win a lot of classics and monuments. But if you don't care about cobbles, meaning Paris-Roubaix and Route van Vlaanderen, meaning stating some of the monuments that have cobbles, and you have to have good cobbles in order to win those races, choose Puncher. And as a secondary axis, I like to choose Sprinter, because it's going to be good on flat as well, still the same climbing ability, still bad on time trial, bad on cobbles, but you are going to exchange the cobbles for very good sprinter acceleration, and you are going to be a menace on every single stage that you appear, stage and race that you can appear, and winning a lot of races. And as you can see, stat wise, you'll be a weapon, man. You will be a weapon on both hilly and flat terrains. Finally, if you want to be a pure sprinter, the fastest man on the peloton, I recommend you to choose as the main axis, of course, Sprinter, of course, and probably not something that you are thinking, but Barrada as the secondary one, because it gives you loads of flat. Look at that, not as much as you choose Barrada as the main axis, but loads of flat. You are going to sacrifice a lot on your climbing ability and on time trial, of course. You are going to be even good on cobbles, so you can fight for those cobble stages and races. Sprint, of course, it's your main driver. You are going to be very good accelerating, very good on the downhill, and you are going to be very good on Barrada, meaning you can do attacks, getting into breakaways at the final of the races, or in the beginning of the races if you are participating in tours and trying to get mountain points, or not mountain because you are going to be very bad on mountain, but intermediate sprints in order to get that points jersey, for instance in the Tour de France, where intermediate sprints have a lot of points. So that's everything about the build. So now let's take a little bit more an in-depth look on rider stats, which I've stated already ranges from 50 to 85, being 50 the worst and 85 the best, and starting with the flat stat. The flat stat is the ability to rouler, meaning how well the rider rides on flat terrain. For when it's flat and you have 85 flat stat, your speed comparing to a rider that has 60, for instance, on the flat, will be the same, using much lower heart rate, much lower effort, and if you crank that effort up, nobody on that range until 70 or something flat will be able to follow you without losing too much stamina and resistance. So then we've got mountain, which is the ability to climb, pretty self-explanatory, and endure on mountains. But there's a caveat. As you can see, there is mountain, medium mountain, and hill stats, and these three stats work together very closely by, all related to the climbing ability of the rider, but in race you have an effort level ranging from 0 to 99. We'll talk about more of that in race, but bear that in mind that basically when you put your effort to 0, you order your rider to stop that on the road. That's very useful when you want your rider to retire from a race, and later on I will show you just that on this tutorial. And 99 being your rider's full power without using the special ability of sprint or attack. So these three stats, mountain, medium mountain, and hills, are divided in terms of effort range. When you are climbing, when you are on a steep hill, when you are from 0 effort to 85, you are using the mountain stat. Meaning at 85 you are using 100% of your mountain stat when you are climbing. Medium mountain is when you put the effort between 86 and 94. That's going to be beginning to drain your red bar as well, but it's going to use your medium mount. So 94, it's going to be the max 100% medium mount stat that we are going to use. And hill, finally, it's going to be between 95 to 99. In short, 85 effort bar, 100% mountain stat, 94 effort bar, 100% medium stat, and 95 is when you are beginning to use your hill stats. That's very important when you are tackling a climb and you check your rider stats in order to be the most efficient possible on that climb. The remaining stats are pretty much self-explanatory, but let's talk about them nevertheless. Time trial, it's like the previous three stats, it's paired with the prologue stat. Both is the rider ability to, on the solo effort, of course, on time trial races, but time trial is for races 10 kilometers or longer, and the prologue is for races that are shorter than 10 kilometers, meaning I think the threshold is right at the 10 kilometer mark. 9.9 a 9.9 time trial race will be prologue stat, 10 kilometer up will be time trial stat. Cobblestones, the attribute to ride on cobbles, of course, very important if you want to win Paris-Roubaix, for instance, because a bad cobblestone stat means that the rider will lose energy, speed and time more even than on the steepest and longest of mountains. Beware of that, guys. Cobbles are the most unforgiving terrain in this game. You can lose minutes and minutes if you have poor cobbles on a harsh cobble sector. Much more than a rider who has poor mountain stat can lose on a steepest mountain of the game. Sprint, it's the maximum speed that the rider can achieve using the the special in-race button to sprint, that button is available at the last kilometer of the intermediary sprints and the last kilometers of each race, even the races that end on climbs. So even on climbs, at the end of the race, about 3 kilometers, 2-3 kilometers to the finish line, the button, the sprint button, will be available. Every time that you are not on the final kilometer of an intermediate sprint or in the final 3 kilometers of the race, that sprint button is not available, and it is the attack button, which means it's almost exactly the same as the sprint, but with the difference that is where you are in terms of racing. Acceleration, as I stated a little while ago, is how fast your rider achieves the top speed, meaning on the speed he is riding, and into top speed is how long it will take to achieve that. Downhill, it's the ability and the skill the rider has to get speed on the downhill, and a good stat skill means that your rider will less likely to fall down, to crash on a downhill. So it's very important attribute as well, especially if you like to attack on downhills, and this game can be very rewarding attacking on downhills, even giving you a skill to do so, that you can attack on downhill. So it's very good. This stat is very nice. Barra 2, this is a very special stat, but pretty negligible in my opinion, and very situational, because it is the likelihood when the rider attacks, when you use that attack button, that the attack is going to be a strong attack, meaning that you got, instead of 100%, about 105%, 110%. You'll see that because the red bar will start to blink when it's a strong attack, but it's very situational. This is very good when you want to go to breakaways or attack on a final uphill to get some distance from the pack, but it's very situational. So in race we'll talk about more in depth of the mechanics, so I'll explain a little bit better that red bar thing and all that jazz. Finally, the last 3 stats: stamina, resistance and recovery, previously known as the secondary ones, and now they are known as the physical stats. Each one is tied to the rider in race bars. We'll talk a little bit more about bars later, but I can give you a little bit of knowledge about the bars right now. Yellow bar is the bar that when you are over 60 effort, you are starting to deplete that bar, and it's your, let's say vigor bar. It's the bar that you have in order to achieve the effort that you are putting on your rider. If your yellow bar is 0, if you don't have any yellow bar, you can put your rider to 99, that your rider is not going to go 99. I think it's going to translate to 50 or 59, around that. Red bar, it's the sprint bar, the attack bar, it's the immediate bar, it's the bar that allows the rider to get full power 100%, and you have a green bar, and in green bar you can think about it as your health bar, because the green bar is like your stamina, is like your resistance on the race, your endurance, it's your health bar essentially, and that affects the other 2 bars, the yellow and the red one, because you have a certain threshold, and in race you can see there on the graph, it's a little bit below the water icon, just a little bit below that water icon, you are going to start losing yellow and red max potential bar, not losing the bar itself, but the length of the bar. You start the race with full length, and after you cross that threshold of the green bar, that length will shrink, so you'll have less yellow and less red, useful to use. And so, having that said, the stamina is important for the green bar, essentially, is for how long you resist depleting your green bar. The resistance is like the stamina, but for the yellow and the red bar, when you are over 60 effort, for how long you will deplete your yellow bar, and when you are over 86 on or over, for how long you sustain depleting that red bar. And finally, the last stat, recovery, is when on tours, and it's only on tours that this is used, is the ability to keep up your freshness. Freshness is another mechanic that is it's only important on tours, because it's how you recover from stage to stage, and meaning that if you have excellent freshness, which is the max, you start the next stage with full green bar. If you drop your freshness, your green bar starts shorter and shorter and shorter, meaning closer and closer and closer to that threshold point that will take you your potential on the yellow and the red bar. So recovery for a guy that you want to go on tours is very, very, very important. And now that you know about build and you have set up the rider as you desired, I'm going to keep the last choices that I made. We can click next, and finally we are presented with the team selection screen. So here you can choose which team you are going to start your career here, and I tend to choose the worst team of the lot, because in just a few level ups, a couple of level ups, you will be the best rider of the team, you will be the leader of the team. So it's very important that you choose a bad team for two reasons. Couple of level ups, you'll be the team leader and you will get teammates to work for you, and usually the worst team will have in their calendar races with easier opponents. So I think that's the right thing to do. So you can choose a team, and in this case I'm going to probably choose this Japanese team, JCL Team Ukyo, because we are the 7th out of 12, meaning probably this is going to be the worst team. In terms of reputation, not so much, but we are very good position there. So let's choose this Japanese team, and then clicking next will be taken into a short load where the game is going to create and initialize all the things, and once is over that, we can start our section 2, which will be training. Here in the training section I will talk about the mechanics of training, both the season planning as week by week planning, my advice to you, what the training regime you should choose for the first season, and finally what I think it is the best training regime for a season with some race objectives. So after the creation of your rider and your loading of the save, you are here in the main screen, which is a dashboard, as you can see, where some useful sections are present, such as message. This is the emails that you've got, that you receive. And let me just return to the dashboard. by clicking on X. The achievements, or as I like to call it, the wall of fame, where you got your trophies and main jerseys, the Grand Tours jerseys, the World Champion jerseys, Euros jerseys, and your National Championship jerseys. Some info here, some various info like infirmary, team presentations, and different type of info here. Below that we've got the latest results. Now it's empty because there's no races. And the most important bit, at least for our section here, in the bottom left we have the training overview, and we've got here this message that we'll see in the training page. You can manage race registration and plan rider fitness as of January 2nd, when the preseason is confirmed. Meaning, to access the full training page, you have to go here to the top left, to the action bar, on the first tab, which is the rider tab, fourth sub-tab, training. You can access the full training page, and here we have again the same message on the center screen, so telling us that we can only plan the training regime on the 2nd of January, and we are in the 1st of January. So in the first day of the year you can only, and you should, go to the calendar, which is this tab right beside the training. Here you can register and unregister any races, unregister races that the team got for you, or register races that the team are going to take part in but you are not registered. But since this is the first season, we've got no points, so we cannot do that whatsoever. But it's a good rule of thumb at each 1st of January, for a beginning of each season, go into your calendar and do some planning and register some races to your liking. So that's it in terms of calendar. The only thing in the first day of your career, it's choose to reply to our trainer and continue to the 2nd of January. As we can see, we have here a red message, meaning it's an action that we must do. Even if we can continue, the game do not allow it. Some matters require your attention. So let's reply to the trainer. We have two options. I did a big preparation in order to get ready right from the first race, getting 15 tiredness, 85 to 90 preparation. Or I did a good preparation without getting too excited in order to be tip-top in the spring, getting 5 tiredness, 75 to 80 preparation. On the following seasons, we'll get another option, which is no preparation at all and no tiredness at all, and that's usually what I choose, because especially on the first season we are not going to race in the month of January, and I'm going to explain why. Because we are going to wait for the month turn. Since we chose the world champion rider potential, we'll get 50 points on the month turn, and exactly the number of points that we need to progress to level 2. And I will explain why a little bit later, that I want to level up only at the turn of the month, once we can do our training regime. But as if we return here to the calendar, we can see that we have some races registered here on the month of January, and we we cannot unregister them, especially the Cyanide Cups. Even if we got some points, we could unregister it. So we are not going to take part on those because we don't want experience points, and we are going to retire from the races. I'm going to show you later how to do that. I've just said a little bit early on the tutorial how to do that. It's shaving your effort bar all the way down to 0. Your rider will stop on the road, and just after a while he will retire from the race. So after replying to the trainer, we will advance to the 2nd of January, where we can do our planning, and by doing that we could hit continue and then press the space bar in order to stop in the new day. But just to be safe, I'm going to click here on this calendar icon. It will pop up a calendar. I'm going to choose the 2nd of January and I'm going to advance to this day. So new day, and here we are. We've got new message, welcome to our team. I will allow you to read that in your game, so I'm going to delete those messages, and now we have full access to the training page. Talking about mechanics, you have here on the right 2 tabs, the general tab and the weekly tab. The general tab is not something you are going to do in season 1 because you want to level up your rider as much as possible and as efficiently as possible. So, meaning you are not setting any race objectives nor rest weeks, only just a couple of sensible rest weeks in order to get your tiredness down and try to get some points along in the races that you are going to partake in. So each race, if you do well, will give you experience points, and we want the most experience points possible in order to level up. So because no objectives are going to be set, because you want to train the specifics axis 100% or almost 100%. But just to explain the mechanics of the general tab, here on the lower part of this graph you have your races, the races that you are register, and you can drag the types of objectives into the graph. Let's say drag the target A here, let's say here, and drag the target B, let's say here, and do a rest week, let's say here. Okay, and you can even add consecutive targets. Let's say if you put here, you can add 2. To eliminate, you use the right mouse button, like so. You can put consecutive targets. There's a limit on the consecutive targets you can do first, but on the skill page you can up the consecutive targets that you can put on. So, but I'm going to show you why you shouldn't do this in the first season, and you can't, yeah. So let me just show you why this is not a good idea. On the graph itself you have 2 lines. This one here at the beginning, it's the preparation line, the fitness level. And the other one is the tiredness level, this one here in the bottom of the graph. On the bottom screen you have more detailed information and a legend of the graph itself. Here you can scroll the graph down the season or up the season. The fitness level is very important mechanic, this one, because it will determine in race how much of your stats you'll have available. Meaning, in addition with the mechanic that is race day condition, you'll have some bonuses or some penalties on your base stats. The tiredness level, it is very important as well, because it will determine the likelihood of getting a bad race day condition. And if you are over 40% here, if this line grows over the 40% mark, it will begin to decrease your tiredness level. Even if you are training like a madman to get 100%, tiredness will drop your fitness level to a pulp. But now, on to the most important, tab that we are going to focus on this guide, and you should focus on the first seasons in order to level up your rider, the weekly one. So in this tab you have the options, the actions to train specialities, 12 of them in fact, the 7 axes that you could choose in the rider creation, plus physical, preparation, happiness or social life, healing, and contract or contract discussion. Below that you have your week actions, and even below you have the general preparation typical week, which is a template, and it's a new and very good quality of life mechanic that they implemented in this game, because you can set the actions for the week and then copy it for the remaining weeks, and we'll be doing that once we are going to prepare our rider here. So talking about each action available that we've got here. Physical. Each physical action tick box will allow you to gain 5 XP at the month turn, meaning you've got, as a grand champion potential that we chose, 50 XP on each month turn. For each physical that you do in each week, you'll get another 5%. So that's very good in order to level up your rider very quickly. Then we've got the axis per se. This one is the stage racer. This one is the climber. This one is the time trial. This one is the barra deux. This the sprinter. This the Northern Classics, and this the puncher. The other 4 on the down row, on the below row, we've got preparation. This will pull out all stops to gain a bit more fitness, to be used sparingly to recover from situations that have gone off track, because these sessions create a surplus of tiredness and are mentally costly, meaning you will get a boost for each preparation that you do. You will get a boost on fitness, the fitness will grow higher, but the tiredness also grow higher, and your happiness will decrease. So this is good for after a rest week. The rest week will decrease your fitness a lot and decrease your tiredness around 50 to 20%, more and less. So this is good for upping your fitness quickly at the expense of your metal reserves that you can counteract with the next action, which is social life. Time spent with friends and family helps to replenish mental reserves that are empty over the year. I honestly don't know what the mental reserves mechanic do, but I do suspect that has an influence on your race day condition. The higher you have the mental reserves, which is over the moon, which is the status that we are right now, the higher the chance that you roll a good race day condition. The final 2 actions that we've got available is healing. This is only for when you are injured. The healing action allows the risks of illness to be reduced during a period of injury or illness. It enables the lie-up time to be reduced. Combine several healing actions during the same week does not produce additional effects, so only one to be used if you want. The other ones can be combined and should be combined. The contract discussion allows the number of contracts of interest to be increased, thereby expanding the chance of finding the best possible team. At each April, at the beginning of April till August, you can spend contract points on choosing teams that you want to ride for next year. You always have 1 year contract in this game, so in between April and August you can spend points. Skills will give you more points, and this will give you more points in order to put on teams that you want to move to. Okay, so the final thing to notice is that your actions have a base of 0%, all of them, except the axis that you have chosen in the creation of your rider, meaning the main one cannot drop below 15%, and the secondary one cannot drop from 20%. Note that on each level up that you do that has improvement of attributes or evolution of potential, the only axes that you can do an evolution of potential are the ones that are at least at 75% on the week that you are leveling up. Let's imagine that we are going to level up on this week where we are now. Of course that's impossible, but just to give you an example, we couldn't do any evolution of potential because we don't have any action above the 100%. In order to assign an action to the week, you just have to drag the action that you want. In this case, as you can see, I'm trying to drag, but I cannot because the first week of the year is locked, is always locked. So you cannot do any actions on the first week. So no actions are available here. But advancing 1 week using this arrow here, you can advance here and you can take back here. As you can see, this icon moves once I click here. So advancing to week 2, now we've got our actions available. They are no longer grayed out, so they are now available. And so what you can do is to choose 4 actions because you are on a regular week, a green week, and to choose from because yeah, it's a regular week. Target A weeks. Let me just put you there. Target A weeks. As you can see, you have no actions available. So, and the prior 3 weeks, which is called the preparation weeks, only allows you to use 2 actions, and that's the main reason why you shouldn't set any targets on season number 1. And in fact, season 1, 2, 3, at least, you shouldn't set any targets because you want to level up as much as possible your rider by training access, and we'll discuss that on the leveling up section. But as for the leveling up, the number of attributes will increase as you are closer to 100% on the action that we are increasing. So that's a very, very good reason. And the rest week is even worse. As you can see, you can only use 1 action, but you are limited to using only happiness, social life, healing if you are injured, or contract negotiation. The rest week is only good to kill off your tiredness and nothing else. So let me just reset my training plan here, and now let's set, let me just drop here to this, and let me show you what you should do in season number 1. So season number 1, you should level up your main axis, in this case is sprinter, as best as you can, and by dragging this to this week, just to have a quality of life and to be faster. You should do your template like this as well, and press on the copy to the active week and all succeeding general preparation weeks. So let's do it, which is everything. So after I click that, we can see that this is copied all over the rest of the season. And now we are going to adjust. We want to get the 100%. So let's clear the template by right-clicking on each action. Oh, one thing that I didn't talk about is you see here 1 spot empty. You can upgrade by skill. You can have skills that will allow you to fulfill this spot on the week. It's on the training tree. I think it's fitness peaks, I think, but we'll talk about that on leveling up on skills a little bit further down this tutorial. But for the first season you should do this until you get 100%, so we are 92, 100%. And you can see here it's right on the turn of the month. It's between the 21 of January and the 4th of February, meaning in the beginning of this month you are going to have a level up, that's for sure. So on this week you should optimize your training by removing the actions, and you got here 97%, so let's put another action here, 100%. And then what I do recommend in order to develop a lot your main axis is to get physicals, to put physicals. Why physicals? Because physicals will give extra XP on each turn of the month. So you'll have 5 more XP in each week, at least 5 more XP on each week. So you level up like crazy, man, like crazy, and you are going to focus 100% on your main axis. So let's do this. And template wise I'm going to put the main axis, the physical, and physical. Why I do this? Because if you can see here on the next week, if the next week are already the next week are already, so let me just clear the template and let me copy this in order to clear every week. So this is the week that we've got 100%. So as you can see, on the next week you will drop 5% if you don't train your main axis. So you should train your main axis once more. Physicals, and copy to the remaining of this week, to the remaining weeks of the season. But since this is your main axis, you have a more focus, and you have more proficiency on that axis, so you don't lose every time 5%. There are weeks that you lose even less, and so there are weeks that you are going to not lose, but you are going to keep the 100% even without training your main axis. So the thing I will do here next is going to the general tab, and I'm going to put a sensible rest week. So probably around here after all these races, another one probably around here, and another one probably around here. And scrolling down a little bit more on the season, I don't think we need to rest anymore. So having that said, returning to our weekly training, we have 100% here. I'm going to clear the template once more, but I'm not going to copy. Then we got 100% here. Now each week we should check if we have 100% even without training. We've got 99, so I'm betting that the next week we are going to have 100% even not training the axis. As you can see, that's it. So in this week we can do all physical training, and the next week we should have 100% still. Yes, so training. Now on that rest week we have 100% still, which is big, and you can use now contract or happiness. I recommend using contract in order for you to choose a good team, and you can do this before August. So after August you should do this for mental reserves for happiness. So the next week we are 100%. We cannot take this off, but probably here we can indeed. So let's put physical. Here we can. Good. So keep training the axis. What about this? Here we can put physicals. Then train the axis, probably 1 week. No, here you have to train the axis as well. So this one we can train physicals. This one we have to train. This one we don't. Yes, we don't. But since this is prior to a rest week and we don't want to lose 100% because we don't know if we are going to level up on this week or not, I'm going to train the main axis still here, and now on the rest week we have 100% still here on the rest week. So contract once more, and here we should train the main axis for sure. Here we don't need to. Here we should. Here we don't need to. Here we should. The next one we don't need to, probably. Yeah, we don't. Here we should. It's prior to a rest week. And 100% still. Train. Here probably we don't need to. Here probably, yeah, we need. And let me just scroll down so we can see where we are. Here we don't need to. And okay, here we need. Here we need still. Here we don't need. We are still in the month of September. Only October there's no need to work on physicals because October is the last month of racing, and in the month turn between October and November, and then November to December and December to January, there is no month turn. That's a new mechanic again for this year game, and thankfully so, because in the last iterations of the game you could level up on the off season and your training went down a lot and you didn't optimize your leveling up. So only train the physicals until October, so there's no need to train on the physicals after that. 100%. Yeah. Here we don't need to. Here we need. Here probably we don't need to, and we don't. Here we need, and probably here we don't need to, we don't. And here we need, and that's the last. But since we are in October, let me just take off this physical training. Everything. Here is the month turn, so I'll keep the physical training. And here you can train, I don't know, preparation. If you have races at the end, you should be well prepared for those. Oh, you can still have a level up here, so let's keep that on 100%. And do like this. And that's my advice. And that's my tip for you in the first season. Seasons after that, and you will still want to level up as much as possible your rider and as much efficiently as possible. So take notice on the month turns, the experience that you gain. Do not partake races if you know you are going to level up before you reach 100%. And in the next seasons, try to get the other axis to 100% so you have more options when you level up to choose from which axis you want to level up in order to progress stats that you want to progress. We are a sprinter and a barradeur in this case, but imagine that I would want to up my mountain skill, so I would train climbing probably a lot, and on a level up I will choose climbing in order to level up my mountain skill a lot, but only on 100% or very close to it if you cannot get into 100% on the level up. So that's my main tips for season. And now for a season with objectives, we are going to keep this training regime, and let's imagine that you want a race objective here. Let's imagine you had a race, a very important race here, and you want an objective here. What do I recommend is, before these preparation sessions, 2 weeks prior, you should do a rest, and on the rest you should work on your happiness, like so, and then of course keep working on everything like I stated, but put one preparation, exactly the same, put one preparation. You should only do physicals and axis training if you still be able to level up. If not, don't worry about the axis. Work on preparation and mental, and on the preparation weeks exactly the same. Keep your axis and do preparation, keep your axis and do preparation and happiness. Only one preparation per week, just not to overextend your rider. Preparation, preparation and happiness. And here in the beginning of your fitness peak you cannot allocate any action, but you should have a very high fitness, close to 100%, and very good mental reserves heading for your race. And that's it about training. So let's talk about leveling up, but for that I must show you first one thing, because we are only going to level up at the end of January, getting the 50 points of experience in the month turn, and that's where we'll get 100% on our main axis. So I'm going to simulate until Cyanide Cup, because in order to be safe, in order to level up here on the 1st of December, of the 1st, not December, 1st of February, we must retire from all races that we have registered. Since we don't have any points to unregister, we must retire. We cannot simulate, we must retire, because even if we simulate, we'll get some bonuses because finishing the race. You'll get bonus for every continental race, that the first race that you finish, for the podiums, for winning, and then the Pro Tour. You'll get a lot of bonus getting into breakaways, all that jazz, even the manager orders. We'll talk about that at the end of this tutorial, but now I'm going to simulate, and I'll be back around middle of this Cyanide Cup number 1, and I will show you how you should drop your effort to 0 and withdraw from the race. And we are going to do exactly the same for Cyanide Cup 2, Cyanide Cup 3, Gran Premio Valencia, and the Vuelta Ciclista Mallorca. So I'll do a cut here, and I'll be back for the Cyanide Cup 1 about middle of the race. Here we are in the middle of Cyanide Cup number 1. We just got dropped by the pack. We are about 52 kilometers to the line, but we don't care, because the main objective of this is to withdraw from the race, and it's very simple. We've got here a bunch of icons, a bunch of buttons that we can press. I'm going to explain that later down the line on this tutorial, in the race section of this tutorial, which is the latter race of this. But
We're already at the
This is
halfway
the
stage.
effort bar. If I move this up and down, I'll move the effort bar. So if we drop to 20, we can see our speed dropping. Well, it's increasing now because we are on a downhill, but if we put it to the max, we can see our speed is going up, and of course our bars are dropping a lot. And that's the bars that I've talked early in this tutorial. The green bar, your stamina bar or endurance bar. The red bar, your punching bar.
That's
And
really a
the
punchy
yellow
attack.
bar, which is your probably most important bar on this all. But for dropping, put dot, which is effort cursed,
The
and
pack is
drop all
slowly
to 0.
whittling away the lead.
Your rider will stop on road. Oh, you can use your numpad key to up your effort bar. 8 to go up, 5 to go down. And I'm going to put 0, and I'm going to use the numpad again to on the plus sign in order to speed up time, which is times 8. And you can see ultimate guide as we draw from the race. The only thing
It's an attack.
downside of this doing this is that you have to wait for everybody to finish the race. So
There's an
what
attack in the
I
leading group.
would
Some riders
recommend
were
you
not
to
giving
do
it their all
in
and
order
sharing the
to
pace.
get more experience in race within race commands and tactics and all that jazz, and to get well acquaintance and be more at ease with everything in race department, let's say that, is
And he
to
sprints away in attack.
only withdraw from the race in the final kilometers.
The pack
Do
is
not finish
increasing
the
its work
race.
rate.
That's
Some
the
teams
most
can't be
important
happy with
thing.
the breakaway.
So about 10 kilometers, race till about 10 kilometers, and on the 10-kilometer mark,
There are
drop
just 15
all the way
kilometers
down
left.
to 0,
The pack has just
and withdraw
reeled in
from
the
there,
escape group.
and then speed up the game. The game usually stops to go to 1 times 1 speed of events, but you should be
There are reports of several riders in difficulty.
quite fast
It looks
going
like the pack
through
is
this,
spitting the dust
and I'm not going to
but
do a cut
the riders would
because
seem
I'm
to be
waiting
okay to
for
carry on.
everything to be
Well,
gone,
nobody can dispute that
and
win.
the race
It
will
was
be over
very well deserved.
quite soon. So after doing that and withdrawing from the race, you got this screen, which is the highlights. You can go to the results page, and take note that even after retiring the race, you are not fulfilling any of the manager orders, nor completing the race, nor getting into the breakaway, nothing of that stuff. So no points from your side, but do take care that you could still get points from your teammates. So in this case, Nathan Earl, your teammate, ended up in 10th. I don't think the manager will be too happy with that. Oh boy. Oh boy. Why? This is a bug. This is definitely a bug, because I didn't finish any of those. That was the bonus that I was explaining, but I think the game is just bugged because we didn't get the top 10 and we didn't finish the race. I think this is a bug. I hope when you see this guide and when you play this game, this bug is fixed, because this is a bug. This filled halfway our bar to the level up, which is kind of dangerous. And yeah, the manager liked the position of, that was what I was talking about, the 10 position. The manager did appreciate that and give you 8 extra points for that. So we are very close to level 50. Let's hope we can avoid the leveling up on the remaining of those the next races. So what I'll be doing this time around is not completing that, because we've got already the bonus. So now I'm going to simulate till the end of the month, and I'm expecting to receive no points. Watch out, because simulation of races allow for quicker progress, but does not allow for potential gains linked to performance. For that, you must take part in 3D races. Do you really want to simulate? Yes, I do. So I'll do the simulation, and Let's see, I don't think we'll get any points now because we are simulating. Okay, so probably this is the best choice. Not to retire from the race, but just to simulate. So it's going to be faster, easier, and no points whatsoever that you'll gain from this. Oh yes, simulation is perfect, man. Perfect. Okay, so you should simulate till the end of the month, and at the end of the month we'll take a look at our training. We should have 100% on the sprinter axis. As you can see here on this week, we are already only working 2 actions on the sprint, so we should have 100%. Oh boy, okay, because god damn it, I didn't finish this, so I shouldn't simulate the tour. Okay, so you should simulate the one-day races, but you should not simulate the tour. The tour, you should take part on the first race, the first race, and the final kilometers you should forfeit the race in order to avoid these points. But it doesn't matter too much because we are in the week with 100%, so we'll level up with 100%. So now it's going to be the leveling up. On this leveling up section, we are going to talk about choosing attributes or evolution of potential, and then we'll talk about a little bit about skills. I know this image is the other way around, but that was my bad. But we are going to talk first point number 2 and then point number 1. So as we've leveled up here, we've got congratulations, you just leveled up to level 2. We've got bonus, a skill point that we can choose from, and choose between improvement of attributes or evolution of potential. The next level, level 3, will give exactly the same skill point, choosing between improvement of attributes or evolution of potential. Around skill level 12, I think it's about level 12, you'll get 2 in each 2 level ups, progression of attributes or evolution of potential, and about level 15 or 16, around there, you'll get from each 3 level ups, you'll get the improvement of attributes or evolution of potential. On each one you'll get a skill point. That's why when you exhaust all skill points, you cannot no longer level up. So choosing OK, we've got the 100% sprinter. That's the only thing that we can improve, because in order to do progression of attributes we have to have a minimum of 25%, and in order to do evolution of potential we have to do a minimum of 75%. So if we choose the evolution of potential, we can see that we are going to increase flat, decrease on mountain, decrease on medium mountain, decrease on time trial, decrease on prologue. That's not a good thing, not a good thing at all. And here you can have an idea on your potential range, meaning on sprint you have max available potential, sprint and acceleration 85, there's no range, it's a flat number, it's 85, you can reach the maximum available, you can be the best sprinter in the world with 85 acceleration and 85 sprint. And mountain, we can see that we are around 65, 66, around there, 66 more and less. Medium mountain 71, hills 75, time trial 67, prologue 76, and cobbles 74, downhill 81, barre de 72, stamina 78, resistance 82, and recovery 79. It's right around the middle. It's probably what's the hard number that you got. But we're going to do the progression of attributes, and you should 100% of the time first level ups, and I would say the first 3-4 level ups, you should 100% of the time choose progression of attributes. And look at that, just by getting 100% on the axis on the level up, look at this massive level up, man. Getting 2 on flat, 1 on mountain, 1 on medium mountain, 1 on hills, 1 on time trial. Even the things that we are not good, we are getting 1s. 2 on prologue, 1 on cobbles, 3 on sprint, 3 on acceleration, 3 on downhill. No barrada, but we don't care about the barrada skill. 3 stamina, 3 resistance, and 3 recovering. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 27 points level up, man. 27 points and just 1 level up. We are going from a poor rider to a very, very decent rider. One of the best of our team, that's for sure. So, that's why I recommend you not to race anything. Try to level up at the month turn when you got 100% fitness guaranteed. And that's what we've done. I think now I'm going to confirm, of course, and I don't have a fallback point in order to show you the what is going to happen if you don't level up at 100%, but I'm going to create another rider and I'll show you the difference between leveling up with 100% and leveling up with only 50%, which is the bare minimum. Or I'm going to put 25% on the secondary axis, which I think it's the bare minimum, and you can see the big difference there. So I'll do a cut and I'll be back with a new rider in order for us to do a comparison there. So here we are with a new rider, the bad level up, and it had a more favorable calendar, this guy. It's exactly the same with the same axis. It's a sprinter slash barrada, but he only had the cyanide cups on the month of January, and we simulated till 31. We drew from any race, so we only did the simulation, and we've got the 10 extra points because of the finishing our first race, despite the fact that I didn't finish anything, but okay. And having that said, training, we can see that we've got 25% on the secondary axis and 50 on the main one. So if we do a continue, we are going to get our level up, 50 points, and the level up, indeed. And we can see the difference here. Level 2, same stuff. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, you got here a message: no specification sufficiently worked on minimum 75%, and our main axis at only 50% will get an improvement nevertheless. One on flat, 1 on mountain, medium mountain, hills, time trial, prologue, cobbles, 3 on sprint, 3 on acceleration as well, 2 on downhill, 3 on stamina, 3 on resistance, and 2 on recovery. So that's not a bad level up at all. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13, 15, 18, 21, 23 level up points. So that's not a bad level up whatsoever. But if we see here the barrada, it's not a bad level up as well, even though we are only 25%. But I think that's because we are still on level 1, so we have a lot of range to go in terms of evolution of potential. There's a big gap there between all of those, so I do recommend that you still work on 100% axis in order to get the most of your level ups, of all of your level ups. So I couldn't illustrate a big difference, but I assure you that there's a difference if you level up at 100% or less than that. So try always to level up at 100%. And now I'm going to return to the Ultimate Guide Rider to choose a skill and talk about skills. And here we are back with the Ultimate Guide Rider, where we just leveled up and we got a skill that we can choose from. You can see there by this icon lighting up. When this icon is on this yellowish lighting up, meaning you have a skill to choose from, or you can access the skill page by clicking this tab on the Rider tab, the third tab, skills, but I'm going to do it via this way. But if you can see, if I click it here, it's exactly the same, it goes on the same page. So we got 4 trees: performance, personality, discovery and race. And as always, the game does give you a good description of each tree. In here, the performance tree, the skills in this branch allow for more consistent and robust management of a season thanks to improved knowledge in domains linked to fitness. Then we've got the personality, which is the skills in this branch allows more advantage to be gained for career development. Don't people say that? Above all, you need character to become a champion. Then we've got the discovery. The skills in this branch allows more information to be gathered on riders inside or outside a race. And finally, we've got the race branch. The skills in this branch allows technical and strategic possibilities to be extended during the races. So, taking an in-depth look at each skill on each tree, starting with the performance one, we've got the fitness peak, extend the consecutive duration of target periods. As I've talked in the training session, not session, you could extend beyond the 2 consecutive weeks of target, and that's the skill that you will get for that. So 3 consecutive targets on level 1, 4 level 2 and 5 for level 3. Willpower. A few times in a season, turn the tide and reverse an expected negative race day condition. This is very good, very situational, nevertheless, but very, very good, because when you are very tired or when the race is under some severe weather or bad weather like rain, snow or extreme heat, you will get an expected race day condition of -1. So if you have this skill, you can activate that willpower and reverse the tide and get a +3 guaranteed for the race. So you are from a bad rider to a very, very good rider just by pressing a button. And this is very useful for important one-day races, not so much for tours. But the first level give you 2 bonus for each season, 4 bonus for each season on level 2, and level 3 give you 6 bonus for each season. And finally, the last skill of this branch, the training, better manage tiredness that results from a hard preparation. As a result, you can produce more consistent performance across the season. This will allow you to get more actions per week, meaning the level 1, it only affects the tiredness level that you get. Build up tiredness is slightly reduced beyond 90% preparation, which means once you get the threshold of 90% fitness, you get less tired by training and racing, but especially training. The level 2 is one of the most important skills all around, which build up your tiredness beyond 80% preparation less, and 1 extra time slot in the general preparation weeks. This is the one that gives you the full slots here on the weekly training. This will be available once you get that level 2 on training. And finally, the level 3, less build tiredness beyond 80%, just exactly the same as level 2, and 1 extra time slot in specific preparation weeks, meaning when you set a target, you got that 3 weeks before that it's the preparation weeks that I call it, and you'll get an extra slot instead of 2. You'll get 3 of those in the level 3 of training. So this is a very good tree. Personality, in my opinion, it's the worst tree, because you start with charisma, have more influence in the team by receiving more points for changes to your race calendar and teammate requests. This means for each level 1.5%, 1.5 more of the points granted by the team. The level 2 times, double the points, and 2.5 times the points granted by the team, meaning on the calendar you will get more points each season with that skill. And as you can see, we've got now 5 points that we didn't get on the level 1, because each level that you level up, you will get some extra points here that you can spend on the calendar by register or unregistered races. And if you are one of the best team or the best team of the team, you can go here on the team tab and do team requests. As you can see, this is not available because you don't meet all the requirements, which is be one of the 2 best riders. Currently we are 5th. Reach level 5, only at level 5 you can do this, and have a satisfaction of 75%, manager satisfaction. This is the one. By achieving race objectives, you increase this satisfaction, get as many good results as possible. The manager's satisfaction drops off slowly from March onwards, and only by achieving race objectives you will show him that he was right to offer you this contract. So I think that's the only influence that the manager's satisfaction has in game, is the ability for you to do team rate requests, which means you can select teammates in races that you are going to take part, and this is the number of points that you need in order to assign those guys. But not very useful in my opinion. In my opinion, that's not very useful at all. Then we've got attentiveness. Gain more XP each month, which sounds great. Sounds like you could start with this skill, because first level up will give you extra 10%, then level 2 extra 20%, and on level 3 30% of XP gain in each month. Meaning, if you think about it, it's not that great, because we are on Grand Champion potential, which is the best potential to use even the attentiveness, and even on Grand Champion potential I don't think this skill is great, because what? You got 50 points in each month turn if you don't train physicals. With 10% you'll get in each month turn 55 points. With level 2 you'll get 60 points, and with level 3 you'll get 65 points. 65 points you can easily do here in the training by assigning in 1 week 3 physicals, and you got at least 4 weeks in each month to do, so you can gain a lot more points here using physical trains, and do not spend your skills here on attentiveness. So I don't recommend the attentiveness. I only leave you on, I usually leave the attentiveness once I get the skills that I'm interested in, especially training, fitness peak, willpower, and some others that we are going to talk about, not in this branch though. Then the last skill of this branch, the personality branch, it's network. By having more contacts of interest, have a greater impact on the agent's work in the spring when he's looking for team. Meaning, level 1 will give you 2 more, no, not 2 more, 1 more contact of interest against 1 initially, so 1 more, here another 1, so you'll have 3 in total, and here another 1, 4 in total. Again, this is dumb, because on the training you have this that will give you one contract more. This not like the physical, which you can put multiple in 1 week and will multiply 5, 10, 15, 20 in just 1 week. This will only grant you one contract point per week, but as I said, you've got at least 4 weeks in 1 month. If you put this in each week, you'll get 4 extra contact points and the other one that you start, so 5 contact points overall to spend in the month turn on once the transfer market opens, which is in April. So another skill that I'm not very fond of. Then we've got Discovery 3. I think that's the third best branch. The first one is the branch that I even did not speak about. Well, tied with performance, but we'll speak about race in a bit. Now, the Discovery 3, we've got information, learn more quickly about riders, teammates and opponents, taking part in the same races as you. In previous iterations of this game, I would put this 3, Discovery, about the same level as personality. Very, very, very bad, because once you are racing, you would get knowledge on guys that you are racing against and your teammates. Lower gain of knowledge, but knowledge nevertheless. If you race a lot against and with certain riders, you'll gain knowledge nevertheless. But in this year game, getting knowledge is very hard. In my save, I'm with information and passion 100% on level 3, and I still don't know much of my team. Not even graphs on the skills of my teammates. It's a blur. If you go here into your team, right at the start, you don't know anything about them. If you go to attributes, well, you know about Malucelli because he's a very known rider, and you got some bit of knowledge like graphs, which is kind of a range of some other riders. But the most part, you'll get this. No info at all, and for a long time. So this branch has become more important in this year game, because you have to know a little bit about your teammates, especially when you become a team leader, that you are going to use teammates to help you. You have to know who is good on sprint, who is good on flat, who is good on cobbles, and who's good climbing, so in order to help you. So these 3, because in this year game has become more important. And information on level 1, the improved analysis of teammates and opponents taking part in a race, allowing a knowledge base to enhance slightly more quickly. You slightly learn more about teammates and opponents that you race with. The same for level 2, but it's a little bit better in terms of the progression. And level 3 finally, far more quickly. That far more quickly at the end of that phrase, I don't think it's far more quickly. It's quicker, alright, but it's still very slow nevertheless. Then you got passion. Learn more quickly about riders thanks to race results, meaning improved analysis of the results of the race on the calendar, allowing a rider knowledge base to be enhanced slightly more quickly. So it's the same as information, with the same degree of knowledge gain per level, but information is in races that you take part on, passion is in races that you are not part of. So a combination of these two will get you more information sooner. Then you got the observation. This is only used in race. Be more effective during the observation action in a race. You have an action in race that you can observe your opponents or your teammates. Teammates do not make any sense because you have that information on the left side of the screen. But about opponents, you can gather info about their race day condition, their yellow, green and red bar. And that's it. Because stat wise, if you don't know anything about stats of the rider that you are observing, you are not getting any stats using that skill, using that button, that mechanic. You are only getting information in race of that day in particular for that rider. So noteworthy aptitude for gaining information on a rider being observed during a race, good aptitude for gaining information on a rider being observed during a race, and excellent aptitude. Wide levels, because it does not always work. When you have no observation skill, the button is still active, but you need to press it a couple of times and you don't have the guarantee to know anything about him. Sometimes you click, you don't get anything. Sometimes you click again, you get only the green bars, and click again, not getting anything again. Clicking again, not anything, and clicking again, you get the yellow bar, red bar, and green bar as well. And with each observation, you accumulate the number of times you can press the button. You have a fixed number that you start a race, and as time progresses during the race, a bar will fill, an observation bar will fill, and once it fills to the max, you'll get another chance to press that button again. So it's like a cooldown thing. But now, on to the most important branch for me, alongside performance, the race objective, the race branch. The skill in this branch allows technical and strategic possibilities to be extended during races. Particularly this first skill, the technique, stand out thanks to your understanding of your bike and the way you handle it. So, the first level, move up through the peloton, now and again, like an eel. You can slither up through the peloton in no time at all. In race, in this game, you have blocking. You have a block box in each rider that you cannot pass to simulate traffic, of course, and you are not a no clip character in this game. So this makes you no clip in this game. When you press this ability, once you have this skill and you press, it's a button in race that you can use, has a cooldown time, and if you press that button, you will pass through the peloton like an eel, like the description says, and you'll get into the spot that you want in no time at all, like nobody is in front of you, like you have an open road in front of you. The second one, it's the aerodynamic position. You can occasionally adopt an aerodynamic position in order to obtain a slight increase in speed over gentle terrain, meaning flat, downhill, and even small steeps, small climbs on narrow steeps, not very harsh steeps. I think about 4% these do not work, 4% steepness, but under 4% steepness, this is a beast. It says in order to obtain a slight increase in speed, but that slight increase translates to a lower heart rate, so you can put a harder effort to achieve a better speed at the heart rate that you would get with lower speed if you don't get that skill. Which means, let's say, in order to achieve 50 kilometers an hour, you have to go 70 on your effort bar. Using this skill, at 70, you will be at 73 kilometers an hour. So you can put your rider at 65 in order to achieve the 70 kilometers an hour, lowering your heart rate. This is a beast. This skill technique, this level 2 technique, the aerodynamic position, I think it's the best skill in game, because you can attack, you can try to break away from the group in the final kilometers, then press that button, the aerodynamic position, which has a cooldown, a bigger cooldown than the sneaking one, the level 1 of technique. And then you can maintain your gap to the peloton. The peloton will have a hard time to get you, and you can get solo wins quite easily with this technique. The final one, another very important one, acrobatic descent. You can try to go for broke on a descent, but the longer you try, the greater the risk of a fall. Yeah, you have a risk bar that you will see once you activate this skill. You can only activate on downhills and not in all downhills, steep downhills, but this is very useful. It's like an attack without spending too much of your red, or even any red. It depends on the steepness of the downhill, and you can break away like easy from the pack, gaining a lot of time. This combined with the acrobatic descent, with the aerodynamics position, the level 2, well, this is a must. This skill, this acrobatic descent, do not have a cooldown. You can press it on a downhill, stop it because the risk is high or you want to stop, and then press it again and do again the acrobatic descent. The 3 combinations of these skills on, let's say, the final 10 kilometers after a climb, you get a downhill and a little bit of flat before the line, it's deadly, man. It's deadly. Because you are in the climb, not in front of the group, but near the front of the group. And you got some riders in front of you, so those riders can block your way. You press the sneaking, go effort, you pass like there was nobody there, you do an attack, you get into the top of the hill. Then, when you start down the downhill, you press the acrobatic descent, pressing on another attack and getting more time on the bunch that you just broke away. And finally, when you reach the flat terrain to the line, you press the aerodynamic position and go hard till the line, and it's almost guaranteed a victory. So these three level ups of technique are a must. So let's talk about the remaining 2, and then I'll say what I think is the best order for you to choose your skills. Stealth. Be more astute and inconspicuous during maneuvers to bluff opponents. This is very circumstantial. It's good to have. I don't say it is not good, because it is. So a short-term bonus usable 2 times during the race, so it gives you an opportunity to do this 2 times, no cooldown. The second level is exactly the same, but medium term, it lasts a little bit longer. And finally, the last one gives you 3 times that you can use it on race, and with a long-term bonus. It lasts a long time. That makes the riders unaware of your position. Not all riders, but some of the riders that are surrounding you makes unaware. This is very useful when you want to do an attack. You are in a bunch, usually a small bunch, and you want to do an attack. You press this, the riders get confused, you do an attack, and they don't immediately react. Only when this drops off, this bonus drops off, the riders are aware that you just attack, and in that time it could be too late, because you could use other skills. But this skill would be excellent and would be very OP if you could use it on the final kilometers of the race. But unfortunately, I think about 20 kilometers to the line, this skill is not available. Useful, nevertheless, if you are fighting for points or mountains. Let's say you are in the Grand Tour and you want to fetch the mountain jersey. So before you reach each mountain top, you do an attack, you press this stealth skill, nobody will react, you'll get a little bit of a distance, then you press hard, and when they are aware and try to pursue you, it could be too late and you can get those mountain points. Finally, the super leader. When you have the role of a leader in a race, it enables a teammate to momentarily surpass himself for you. This is only useful when you are a good rider and a team leader, as stated here, so not good for choosing at the beginning. But the first level bonus, you can use it one time, the second one you can use it 2 times, and the third level you can use it 3 times. This is end of your rider leveling up skill, I think. But having that said, my advice to you, in order to build an ultimate guide to Pro Cycling Mode, you should start with training. Why? This is not that useful for the first level. 90% is hard to achieve. You will achieve it eventually, at least on March or something. You will achieve eventually. It's going to be useful, but you are working for the level 2. That level 2 is the most important one on the beginning of your game, because it gives you an extra slot, and with extra slot you can fill it with axes, with physicals, with every action that is available, and that's so important. One extra slot per week makes all the difference. If you take a look at physicals, which gives you 5 extra XP at a month turn, one extra slot, it's 5 XP each week. 4 weeks, 20 points of XP on a month turn. So I think the best one are the training until level 2, and then of course get that combo, man. Get that combo as soon as possible. Those 3 levels of technique. So I'm going to choose training, and then I'm going to work for training level 2, and once I get training level 2, I'm going to work for technique. Once you got level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, on the 7th level, it's a little bit to your taste, let's say that. You are not going to do fitness peak, because my advice is the first 3 seasons, you should, at least 3 seasons, you should focus on improving your rider as much as and efficiently as possible, getting 100% level ups, as we've talked before. And if you can win races to get more points, that's great. That's why we use the technique to help us do that. I think the fitness peak should be only using when you have your rider built, you have the confidence that you have enough stats to win races that you are going to focus on, and then you can work on fitness peaks. And essentially 3 consecutive targets, it's only good for, I don't know, Grand Tours or the Spring Classics, where you got Milano-San Remo, Paris-Roubaix, Route van Vlaanderen, and La Doyenne, Liège-Bastogne-Liège. That's only good for that. And level 1, it's enough, because 3 consecutive targets, you can spend the 3 weeks of a Grand Tour and the 3 weeks in April to do the Spring Classics. So level 1 of fitness peak is more than enough, and I advise you only to do when you are able to win those races. After the technique, then I suggest you to get at least 1 power, 1 willpower. Probably 2 would be even greater, because this allows you to get a +3 in order to be easier to win races. When you roll, of course, when you are due to have a negative race day condition, which is not that often. Then you can get 1 stealth if you want to fight for points in the mountains or intermediate sprints. You can get one stealth. But since the game changed the time that you take to gather knowledge on riders, and you need, man, to know at least your teammates' stats. but your opponents too are very important. I would advise you to focus on information first, getting the 3 levels, then the 3 levels of passion, getting 1 level of observation, then getting 1 super leader, because at this time you should be a leader of your team, and super leader will help when you are using the other teammates to help you to during a small time be a little bit better. And then, well, then probably at this stage you are enough of a good rider to fight for tours and points, get 1 fitness peak or 2, then fulfill the willpower in order to have the 6 bonus on a season, and then see what you like, see what you need, because you will be on level 10, 12, 13 by now, even 15 by now. So the game will guide you in order to choose the next level, the next skill that you need. You will be more aware of what you need and what's going to be good for you. So the training is done. The training section of this tutorial is done. So now let's head to the race, and starting with race examples. And with the race examples I'm going to talk you about the mechanics. We are going to start with a mountain stage, and with a mountain stage I'm going to give you everything. On the beginning of the mountain stage I'm going to give you everything about the race, the manager orders, in-race mechanics, and we'll take a look at what you should do on a mountain stage and what you should do on a sprint stage. So now I'm going to do a cut, and I'll be back for the beginning of a race with a climber. I'm going to use the 1-day race option that you get in game, but it's very similar, if not equal, to the Pro Cyclist. The only difference is probably you are not as good, so you don't have teammates that are able to work for you, or if you have teammates, maybe not the entire team, some teammates are not available for you. It depends, it varies, but the mechanics are the same. So I'll see you guys in race. And here we are in race for the mountain stage example. I've used UAE as a 1-day race just to give you an example, and we are going to use Vauquelin as our rider to try to win this for the simulating your rider. Of course, your first race will not probably be a mountain one, and you are probably not going to have any teammates to support you, but overall the mechanics are the same, and you can use those mechanics very, very, very nicely indeed. I don't have any examples still in this game to give you for a mountain stage with a Pro Cyclist and a sprinter with a Pro Cyclist, so unfortunately we don't have the skills, the technique skills like the aerodynamic position, the sneaking one, and the downhill. Maybe I will try to take you on a stage with one of my fellows, or you can follow my series with TituElite that is going on right now, and you can see those actions in place. But on this race we are going to talk about race orders, which we don't have here on this mode that we are in on, and we are going to talk about all the mechanics. So as you can see here, we are going to start the race. The first thing I like to do is I want to adjust my camera, so I press Alt with this camera select here, this one, the default thing. I press Alt and I scroll with my wheel mouse button here. I scroll, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. We have Vauquelin selected. Zoom out around here so we get a better grasp of the surroundings of Vauquelin. Then the manager orders would, in the Pro Cyclist mode, appear right at the beginning here on center screen, and it could vary about you do work at the front of the group with your teammates, get into the breakaway, or finishing top 20, top 30, top 50, winning the race, top 3, or even if you are on a tour, finishing in the general classification, getting the mountain jersey, getting the points jersey. It would range, and those manager orders are guaranteed points, XP points, experience points for your rider to accumulate from the points that you get on each month turn. So it's very important to, at least at the beginning, to fulfill the manager orders, and of course try to get the best result on the race, because even if you don't fulfill the manager orders, or if you fulfill the manager order, get those guaranteed points, and you exceed the expectation of the manager, you will get extra points. You can get a lot of points on one race. Imagine the manager wants you to do work. You do the work, 25 kilometers of work. You do. I recommend to guarantee 9 points. The work order can guarantee you a maximum of 9 points doing the work order. If the manager wants you to do 25, try to 32. Try to do an extra 25% of what the manager wants from you. If the race is long and the manager wants you to do work for 40 kilometers, 10% is 44, 20 is 48, so 25 would be around 50 kilometers. Do 50 kilometers and you'll guarantee to get 9 points. And if you do those 9 points, if you do those 50 kilometers of work guaranteeing those 9 points and exceed the expectations and win the race, you could get 60 points in total after the race. 60 XP points. That would be brutal. As you can see, in the first level up we only needed 50 points to level up, and to get level 3 only 50 points, so that could mean a level up or very close to a level up. So it's very important to score as many points in race as possible. The other way that you can do to see the manager orders is pressing the spacebar, which will open this window, and on the Pro Cyclist mode you'll get a new tab here that is race objectives, and you click it and you get an overview of the race orders that the manager expect from you. If they want you to go into a breakaway, it will say the number of kilometers that you have to go into the breakaway. And again, like the work, if the manager wants you on 50 kilometers of breakaway, try do more. Try to do 25% more to guarantee those, I think, 9 points as well. Extra guaranteed 9 points of experience by fulfilling the manager orders. But since we are here with this window open, this sidebar or this side window open, here you can see a lot of information. When you are on tour, you can see the intermediate sprints, how many points we'll give it, who cross it in which positions, the same for the mountains, and the same for the arrivals. And here you can see the climbs. If you put your mouse here, if you hover your mouse here on this red marker, you can see the climb, the Colmian. This one is average 7.1%, max steepness of 10%, and the climb itself it's 7.5 kilometers long. This one called the PELOTON, average 7.6%, maximum almost 100%, 15 kilometers of climbing. This one, Valberg, average 3.7%, much easier, but with a max slopeness of 12% at the beginning, as you can see there by the colors. Red meaning more hard, more steep, orange less steep, no color, no steepness at all, and green above 3% and below 5% of steepness. And you got there the other one, which is black. Black is over 12%, and you got 14% slopeness there, on an average 7.9% on this Col de Volberg for 11 kilometers. So the map is where you can see the profile, not the profile, but the map, the overview map of the race. Here is the finish line, here is where you start, and if you zoom out, you can zoom in and out by using the mouse wheel, and you can drag to see here. This is very useful for sprinters in order to see how many corners there are before a finish line. Riders, you'll get an overview of the riders that are in race. Strategy, this is only for this kind of races and for the career mode, who has you being manager of a team. So I don't know anything about this because I've never played the career mode for this game, or for this year game, and I'll try to play it later on the year, and probably try to bring you a guide covering the manager aspect of this game. The events is like a log of every message, of every attack, of every fall, of every puncture, everything that happens noteworthy on race. The profile, which is the first one, you can even zoom in. As you can see, you can zoom in at ×2, ×8, okay. But it's not very useful, that thing, because I will show you a better way to do that. And here is very useful information, because this is the composition of the pack, who are in the pack, and once you get breakaways and other groups, you can see who are in those groups, and you can even scroll to the right or to the left to see all the groups that are available. But that's about it on the side window. If we take a look here down on the bottom right, we've got the group that we are in on, the peloton, with 105 riders, and here you can see a profile, and this profile is clickable. If you click it, you'll get a zoom, and you can drag, and here you can take an in-depth look at the profile. So this is a much better way to see the profile of the race. Unfortunately, a patch came out and deleted all the colors on the climbs, which I think it's not the smartest choice by the developers. I like it on the last year game, when you could see the color scheme of the climb here on this profile, but well, you can see it right here if you over the red markers like we did in the side window. So with that covered, let's start now here with the top right bar. Here it's where you can define some settings. Here is the time. You can speed till ×8, pause, which we are now, +1, +2, +3. No, I don't want any race tutorial. You can use the race tutorial even. I recommend you to do so if you are new to this game. And you can go to ×8. So let's pause the game. But you can use on your num keypad, you can use the plus key to speed up time, or the minus key to slow down time. This is the camera modes. I don't use any of those. I only use this one, and then use the Alt and the mouse wheel to zoom out. And this is the option screen. No, this is the spacebar, and this is the option screen where you can see your options. Then, starting here with the bottom left first, where you see the information of the rider that is selected, in this case Vauquelin. So you got the distance to the line, the speed, that is on. The distance to the next mountain mountain checkpoint, mountain points. The next the distance to the next intermediate sprint, since this is a one-day race, no mountain points nor intermediate sprints. Here is the slopeness. We've got a little bit of a downhill, 0.6 downhill, and here you can see the wind speed, 12 kilometers an hour. If you press O, the O key, you can see the direction of the wind. Look at this. The wind is blowing from right to left. So that's very important if you want to do an attack, to not get headwind, because headwind will take a toll on your rider much faster than tailwind. Tailwind is very good. It will help your rider. But then we've got the bars, the famous bars that I've talked a little bit on the guide as well, and you can see all the bars here for all your teammates. The yellow bar, it's the endurance bar. The red bar, the power bar for bursts of speed, and the green bar, which is a stamina bar. And this is the point. You see here the water icon on Vauquelin. It's around here a little bit after this point of the bottle, that once your green bar starts going there, your max yellow bar and red bar will start to degrade. If I put Vauquelin at, I don't know, 99 for a little bit, you'll see he'll get drain red bar and draining yellow bar. You can see better here. So that's drained, and that's drained a little bit. But as you can see, you can recover again to that max. If you are over that threshold, your bars will decrease, and you can only get your max once the bars are decreased, which is very, very important. So let me just put you Vauquelin on 59, which is the setting that I like, because it's right on the threshold that the rider will get the max speed without losing any yellow. Of course, green is always lost, there's no way around it, but not losing any yellow. 59 is the threshold. At 60 he will lose a little bit, but 59 he won't lose anything. So bar set. Here the RDC, the race day condition, you can see it here and you can see it here on each rider. You see that Rodriguez has a better base stat at mountain, and probably even with a -3, because he has 99% fitness. His mountain stats are not, his climbing stats is not affected, so probably Rodriguez will still be the leader. So I think Rodriguez will be the leader, so I'll switch to Rodriguez and I'll try to give Rodriguez the win. But as you can see, his stamina, resistance and recovery suffered a lot compared to Vauquelin, which has 77 as well. So no, Vauquelin will be my leader. Yeah, he has 77 on mountain as well, because he has a +3 of this, because of his +2 race day condition, and he has an improvement on the physicals. So 80 on stamina, 80 on resistance, and the recovery is not important because it's only one day race. So you can see here all the stats and what is the bonus or the malices, the penalties that you got because of the race day condition. The race day condition is a roll dice. Sometimes before a race, because of tiredness, because of the weather, because if the race is an objective or not, because of the fitness peak that you put it on it, you can get an expected race day condition of a plus or a -1. So nevertheless you get a roll dice. Imagine that you got +1 expected race day condition because it's an objective race. You are doing well, it's an objective race, you got an expected race day condition. At the start of the race there's a roll dice and you can roll a -3. It ranges from -3 to +3. You can roll -3, and since you had a +1 you'll get 0, -1, -2. You will begin with a -2 nevertheless. So, having that said, you got the fitness level here, your stats here, so that's everything that we can cover in this screen. But now, let's go to the most important area of the in-race. The most important area is your riders here on the top left, because it's where you give your riders orders. So you have the attack / sprint order. This is 99% of the time attack, only when you are reaching intermediate sprints or at the final 3 kilometers of the stage. Most of the times 3 kilometers. On mountain stages is about 1 kilometer only, but most of the times it's 3 kilometers to the line. This attack button will transform into an S, which means sprint. Then you got the maintain position. Then you got the effort cursor, which we put Voklan a while ago to go 99 with him, which means this effort cursor is the number of effort that you put here, ranging from 0 to withdraw from a race to 99, which is full out without attacking. He'll go at that effort despite the group that he's in on. The maintain position is a little bit different. The maintain position, you select a rider to maintain a position. Let's select this guy. You right click on it. You'll get a bunch of options here, but you will do this button key, which is take position here. So even if we are on effort cursor at 99 and I right click on this guy and choose take position here, you can see that this will change to maintain position. I'm going to click it now, and you are maintaining position now at 99, meaning if he's going slow at 40% of 40 effort, you are going to go at 40 effort. You are not going to overtake him, you are going at his speed. But the effort, the cursor effort will now mark a limit at which you can go. And I like to do at the beginning of the races 59, which is the threshold not to spend any yellow, and maintain position at the front of the group. So let's do it. Let's maintain position at the front of the group at 59, and that means that Voklan will get at max 59% in order to try to maintain that position at the front of the group. If the pack accelerates and at 59 Voklan cannot sustain staying in that position, he'll begin to drop on the pack, and this number, the 59, will start blinking red to give you an indication that Voklan is not going to be able to sustain that tempo. So let's switch now to Reese to talk about the other buttons. You got the relay button. The relay button meaning you will relay, meaning you are going into the front at that effort that you set, if you can. If there are no guys going in max efforts than that, more effort than that, and if you can get into the front, you are going to do that effort. Relaying meaning you are going to be a little bit there, then you are going to fall back and give the position to the rider right behind you. The maintaining relay or the infinite relay is the same, but you are not getting out of the way. You are trying to get into the front and stay on the front in that max level. One thing to note is, imagine the front of the group is going at 70, like we are now, and I put the relay or infinite relay at 30, which is not enough. The guy will try to get into the front, will be at the front at the last guy that is relaying, and he'll go even at 99 if possible to maintain that position, but never be able to get into the front because he do not has the order or the effort order to go into the front. But he'll try, he'll maintain that. as soon as possible. The best example is on the breakaway. You have 3 men on the breakaway and yourself, and they are all going 80. Imagine 80 effort relaying. You put it 20. I like to do that to save energy. That means that you are not going to the front, but you are not going to lose their wheel. You don't need to maintain position and put it 85 or something, because you don't know if they suddenly go at 99 and you at 85 can no longer sustain. So I like to put it at 20, so your rider relaying with a less effort than the effort that is required to relay will maintain his position as to the front as possible, with the guys that are relaying at the back, at the last guy that are relaying, but not going over the minimum speed that he needs to stay in that position. So that's very useful for the breakaways. Next, we've got fetch water bottle, because as you can see here, you've got a water icon, and this will drain. This is filled now, it's all blue, but it will begin to drain, it will begin to gray out, and if it's completely grayed out, you don't have any more water, and that's bad, because once you dehydrate, meaning this icon grayed out will start to blink, and that means that your green bar will drain much faster. So this is very important. You should assign one of your teammates as your water bottle carrier, usually the weakest of the group that you are in, the weakest teammate of the group that you are in, to do that job. So we'll fall back. I'll give you an example of that. I will put Riz on getting water, and you can see here Riz is going to drop. I'm going to speed up just a little bit so you can see that. We'll drop to the back of the group, we'll extend his arm out, we'll get the water, and then he'll try to get to the front to get every teammate that is in his group the water. He is going to get water for everybody, and using that is going to use a lot of effort. He's going to try to do as fast as possible. He'll try to bring water to his teammates as fast as possible. So that's the water mechanic. This icon here is your heart rate. As you can see, Riz, because he's trying to get water, is now on orange. You've got white, which is not using any of your yellow. You've got yellow, which will start draining your yellow, orange, and you got red. Red will start draining a lot of your yellow and start draining red as well. And this little icon is the position that you are in group. So Riz just dropped to the back of the group, so he had this icon here at the bottom. Now is kind of the middle of the group, that's why this bar is in the middle, and Vauquelin, the bar is on top, because Vauquelin is in the head of the peloton. So that's about it in terms of mechanic. You have another icon here, which is energy gel. This is very useful, especially at the end of the stages, because once you use this, and not once, because it takes a little bit of time to activate. Sometimes it activates a little bit faster, other times it activates a little bit slower. So I'm going to use this for Riz, and as you can see, now it's blinking, meaning it's on the activation phase. It's still not active, but it's on the activation phase, and once it's active, all the rider will blink yellow, meaning the gel is kicking in, which means that your red bar and your yellow bar will drain a little bit slower, because you are now using the energy gel. So I think that's all the buttons there is to know. In the Pro Cyclist mode, you've got extra buttons here on top of this bar, of this command bar, starting with the sneaking ability, the ability that makes you no clip, getting through everybody like you had an open road. The second one, you have the aerodynamic position. That's very important ability in order to maintain the speed with lower heart rate or get into a higher speed. And here at the end of this regular bar, action bar, once you are in the downhill, you've got the acrobatic descent that you can use. On the top bar as well, you've got the stealth and the super leader if you select a teammate that is not your rider. So that's about it in terms of mechanics. Now I'm going to show you how you can race a mountain stage, or how I think the mountain stages are best raced with. And one thing I like to do in all kind of races, not only mountain stages, but all kind of races, especially when I don't need to do any work, which I don't think this is the case, but nevertheless we are going to allow other teams to do the work, is this is my leader, Vauquelin. Then I will find the best guys suited for the stage, in this case the mountain stage. So the best guys with the mountain stats: Rodrigues, Costio, not bad, 75, Albanese 72, 76, and 74. So Rodrigues with 77, it's going to be my best guy. So I will take him, and holding the mouse, as you can see, I can move it, and now I'm going to put him on Vauquelin. As you can see, Vauquelin has a dashed border once I do this, meaning if I do this, Rodrigues will now follow the wheel of Vauquelin. Okay, you can do this on some other way, meaning if I take Guglielmi here, I think Guglielmi will be next. If I take Guglielmi here and where is Rodrigues? Rodrigues is here. If I right click on Rodrigues, you got options, which is protect, we'll talk about that in a little bit, follow, which is the same that we just did, and follow the attack. That's useful for opponents. When opponents are trying to attack, you can press this on the opponent and your rider will follow his attack on his wheel. And of course, measure time I don't use that much, and take position here, we just talked about that in order to maintain position at the front of the group. So let's do this with Rodrigues, and as you can see, Guglielmi will now go up there and follow Rodrigues. And the other guy, I think it was Costier. Yeah, it was Costier indeed. So another way to do this is staying on this left bar. You right click now on Guglielmi and you have exactly the same options here. So follow, and you will follow here. Then we've got Gesberg, yeah, Gesberg. Let's follow Costier. Like I like to drag. Albanese, I want him to be my water boy. I know I send Ritz, but I want to be Albanese my water boy. So I want Reese to be my first protector. Protecting a rider means the protector, this case Reese, will spend a little bit more energy protecting Vauquelin, because Vauquelin will be the protected, and Reese will take Vauquelin as much out of the wind as he can, meaning Reese will spend a little bit more energy and Vauquelin will spend a little bit less energy, which is great. This is very useful, especially on flat and downhill terrain and with windy conditions, of course. So let's protect him, right clicking on Vauquelin. We'll do this, and you can see now his icon turned to protect Vauquelin, and you got a new icon here, meaning Vauquelin is being protected. Albanese will be my last guy on this group, and I'm going to put Albanese on group 5, which means I will do control 5, and I'll put Vauquelin on control 1, group 1, and I'll put these guys. I'm using control to select, so Rodrigues control Guglielmi, control Costier, control Gesberg, group 2, and if I press 1, Voklan will be selected. If I press 5, Albanese will be selected. If I press 2, these guys will be selected. Okay? So, everything is talked about. The mechanics, there's no more mechanics to talk about. I'm just going to guarantee that Voklan is ahead, so I'm going to take position at the front of the group. Guys are attacking, meaning if we choose this guy, now we have the option to follow him, as you can see, but we are not going to do this. So, let's continue. And now I can speed up time a little bit, because nothing special will happen. As you can see now, Voklan is dropping. His 59 was blinking, but now they stopped, so it's no longer blinking, and Voklan is returning to the front of the group once more. So let's keep this at ×8. So there's not much going on, and the game turns you to ×1, puts you on ×1 once we've got some events. And this time it was Cepeda attacking. As you can see, Alexander Cepeda attacks at the front of the race, and that makes the game go into ×1. You can configure that. I like to have this in order to react properly to those events. And as you can see, the pack is not worried about those 11 men. They got 8 minutes already, but now they are starting to work. Okay. So this is a good opportunity to get some water, and you can see Voklan is now blinking, meaning his 59 is not enough to keep his position in front, but we are now going into a downhill, so it's going to be easier for him, and he's going to return to the front only using 59. But as I was saying, let's get water. Let's select Albanese, which is going to be my water boy, and let's press take water. And Albanese will drop to the back of the group and will grab water for everybody. And then after delivering water, he's right here now, after delivering the water, he will return to his previous duty, which was to follow Gesbert. And here he goes. Okay, the pack is starting to cut the lead indeed. So we are taking time on them, we don't need to worry.
They obviously don't have anybody in the breakaway group.
Yes. And now we are approaching the first climb, Nakolmian. And Nakolmian, we are starting easy, so I'm not going to do anything, because Voklan is holding on at 59 quite easily, but now is losing a little bit because the climb becomes a little bit harder. So now I will up the effort to 65, and at 65 Voklan should be able to hang in here. Yes, he is. Good. Good, good, good. I don't want to spend much energy, so that's why I put 65. And as you can see, since we are above the threshold of 50, Voklan is starting to lose a little bit of yellow, but now he's recovering because we got a flat, a downhill even. And as you can see, Reyes, because he's not as good as Voklan climbing and he's protecting Voklan, he spent a lot more energy. Everybody here spent a lot more energy than Voklan. That's because Voklan is the best guy on the mountain that we've got. So let's continue. Our green bar is dropping as well. It's always dropping, and now Voklan cannot sustain again because the pack has speed up and the slopeness are higher. So let's go 75, and 75 we should be able to hang in here, still in the middle of the pack, meaning we are not
there should be a lot more movement
fast enough to return to the front, but we are in a safe spot, so I'm keeping this, and I'm going to accelerate even a little bit. And continue, continue, continue. We are in the Kolmian worst part, and now Voklan is getting a little bit further ahead because he's very good at this terrain. So 75 is good for him, so we can even drop to 70, trying to save a little bit of energy in every possible way, because as you can see, our yellow bar are dropping for everybody here quite fast because of that. Quite fast indeed. And I need water. As you can see, my water icon is grayed out for most of my riders, especially for Vauclin, which is our most important rider, is like your own rider. Vauclin today is your own rider. And since we are reaching the top of the mountain, I'm going to take Albanese now, and I'm going to send him to fetch water. This is a little trick that you can do, because he will drop from the pack, and now I will drop Vauclin to 65 or even 59 on the downhill. That's going to be enough. But as I was saying, this is a little bit trick, because you are saving a little bit of energy on Albanese because he was dropping on the pack, and now when he has to do the most effort in order to reach our riders, it's going to be on a downhill, and of course it's way easier to ride on a downhill than it is on an uphill. So that's great. We dropped Vauclin at 59 and we saved a little bit of energy at the end of the climb, and we are still ahead, because at 59 we should be able to ride comfortably here at the front of the group in a downhill. So let's keep going. Let's get into this flatter section, and we are in the flatter section, so let's up now to 65 on this flatter section, and then on the climb itself, the next one, the Col de Coilolne, yeah, very hard. As you can see, 15 kilometers, that's a long climb. I'm going to put him at 75. He's starting to blink, even on this flatter terrain. But once the gradients will increase, he is more favorable terrain for him, and we are going to increase even his effort, his max effort, his limit, let's say that. So let's do it right now. 75. In the meantime, Albanese got the water to everybody, which is great, so we don't need to worry about water for this climb. One rule of thumb is, once, it depends, kind of depends of the stage, of course. If you have a very mountain terrain, it's not exactly at 50 kilometers, but at 50 kilometers and below 50 kilometers, if you send a guy to fetch water, and if that guy could get the water to everybody below the 50 kilometers, as a good rule of thumb, you don't need any more water for the remaining of the race. You are going to reach the finish line without dehydrating, thus without degrading too much of your green bar, thus being very efficient. And that's the aim of the game. It's becoming the most efficiently possible in this game wins. This is the name of the game indeed. Okay, we are under 5 minutes now to the group ahead. You can see here the groups, the first groups, and as I said in the beginning of this, if you scroll, you can see all the groups that are behind you, and if you scroll right, you can see the other group that is ahead of you and the time gaps between all the groups. This is the gap only to the front of the race on the groups behind. It's always the gap to the front of the race, and here you can see the gaps between the groups. So we are 4 minutes and 40 now. We are going to catch those 9 men. I'm certain of it. The pack is doing a phenomenal job. Vauclin at 75 is struggling a bit, but still keeping on, which is great. So let's speed this a little bit more. Vauclin is still holding. The pack is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Prudhomme is doing a fantastic job. We are almost reaching the top of this climb, and I'm not going to send Albanese to fetch water right now. I'm going to send on the next climb, only just before the last climb. So we'll get the water on the downhill. Okay, Vauclin is approaching the front of the group, meaning the pack slowed down a lot, so we can drop to 65. saving a little bit of energy because we are very tired. 39 kilometers, still 3 minutes and 45. Increasing a little bit, meaning we should be working now. Yeah, the time gap is increasing a lot. So, in order to work, I'm going to take all these guys, click on the guy ahead and take position. And I'm going to put these guys at 85. And now I'm going to switch the train. Albanese, I'm going to put him on the front as well at 85. And I'm going to switch now the train. So, Vokla will get into Rodriguez wheel, Rodriguez to Guglielmi, Guglielmi to Costier, Costier to Jesberg, and Reyes is almost done, so Jesberg will be the guy that's going to work, and I'm going to work at 75 with Jesberg. So let's go Jesberg, and now because the pack is not with the speed that I want, I'm going to now put my own tempo with my team. And if Albanese could survive, that would be great. Rees probably won't survive, so I'll put Rees. Albanese. I'll put Rees at auto. You can press this to put automatic, so he'll do whatever he wants. He wants to protect Rodriguez, which is kind of curious.
Only a few riders are
And now we
capable
are
of
in the
following the
bit of
very
a
fast
downhill.
pace up front.
Jesberg is doing well. Jesberg is doing very well. Rees is protecting... No, Rees want to work, which is curious. Okay. Keep working. Keep working. Let's beat this. Oh, and Rodriguez has fallen. Okay, that's...
Oh, Rodriguez has fallen.
When you have a fallen rider, I like to do this. If he can recover on the group, he will rejoin, but he cannot, so I'm going to put him on auto. And Albanese is still here, so I'll put Albanese on Voklan's wheel. And even Rees is here. Okay, that's curious, so I'll put Rees on Albanese's wheel. Okay, that's very interesting. Meaning, if Albanese can go at 85, that would be superb with Rees on my wheel.
This climb is
see
feared
if
by many
Albanese can
riders.
go.
The percentages are very high.
Yes, he can, okay. So meaning we are now going to use Albanese as the leader of our group, or mountain train, let's say that. And now the pack is working harder, but Albanese is doing a fantastic job. So I don't know if Rees is going to sustain this. Rodriguez working alone is trying to get into the group, but it's going to be difficult for him, for sure. Okay, now we are very, very close. 2 minutes only. So we can slow a little bit here with Albanese. And now I will give Albanese the gel. So I can press this, use energy gel, but on the Pro Cyclist mode you don't have this button for your teammates. You only have this button for your rider. But you can get a workaround there, because there's a shortcut, and the shortcut is the I key. So if you press I, as you can see, it's activated now, and you can do that for your teammates in Pro Cyclist mode. So you press I and you activate the gel for your teammates as well. So brilliant.
There's
Guys
a
are
few
trying to
riders
attack,
jockeying for position at the front.
meaning we have to... Ooh, Albanese is done. Okay, Albanese is completely done. So let's go 85 with Jesberg. And Albanese, I'm going to try to fetch water with him. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Rees is completely done.
There's an
Albanese is
attack in the
trying
group at
to
the front.
hold, but it's going to be difficult for him. Okay, slow down, slow down, slow down. We've got those guys. I want Albanese to try to reach us with the water. Can Albanese still do it? Oh, Rodriguez is coming. Ooh, Rodriguez is here. Brilliant, Rodriguez. So Rodriguez will get me water. You can do whatever you want. Okay, that's brilliant, Rodriguez. So let's go 85 now with Jesberg on the downhill. And let's see if Rodriguez can reach us with the bottle of water. And we can still use Rodriguez here, because Rodriguez will recover on the downhill. So I think Rodriguez will be a guy that's going to work after Costier. That was brilliant, Rodriguez. That was brilliant indeed. 3 minutes to the break. The tempo increased a lot again. And Rodriguez will get the water to everybody. Excellent. We don't need to worry about water no more. And let's go at 90 now, starting using red. Above 85, I put it at 85 and I didn't explain why, because 85 is the max, is the threshold where you are using only yellow and not red. Above that, the 85, you are starting to use red. So at 90, we are going to start using red, not on the downhill, but once the terrain flats or starts the climb. Let's give Jesberg the gel, and we are going 90.
An attack is launched. The group has to break apart.
Yes.
The riders are in a portion above 10%.
Yes. And the
10 kilometers
gap
remaining.
decreased a lot, as you can see, and still 10 kilometers to go. So let's go 85 with Costa. Good. 10 kilometers to go. 85 should be a beautiful tempo. Jesberg could not hold, so let's put him on auto. I see the breakaway there. They are in arm's reach, and Costo is doing a fantastic work at 85, so we don't need to increase any more of our tempo. And we are even pulling our guys ahead. You can use your keypad in order to up and down the effort. If I press 5, I will go 84, so I down 1 effort. If I press 8, I will go 85, so I'll up the effort 1. If I press 4, I'll move left. If I press 6, I'll move right. So that's good. Rodriguez unfortunately will not hold for much longer, so let's give him the gel. Let's give Costa the gel as well. Rodriguez will drop to his wheel because he's no longer being useful. Let's give Guglielmi the gel as well.
Acceleration by Cepeda.
Costa is done. Let's use now Guglielmi. And it's only 17 men here on this group, with 2 men up there. Cepeda, final 5 kilometers, let's give Vauquelin the gel. I like to give at 5 kilometers the gel. Depends on, a little bit on the stages, but 5 kilometers is a good rule of thumb. Guglielmi is still doing a fantastic work. Still with the gel not active, but it should be active. Yeah, now it's active. Good. Good. Who's here with me? Bertet, Parentpart, and Blackmore. And that's a good point where I can talk finally about the last mechanic, which is observation, which we don't have here because we cannot know anything about those riders. But if you were in the Pro Cyclist mode, once you select one opponent, you got here a button, I think it's around here, where you press to observe, and then you can get the info on the bars. So yeah, as I said earlier on this stage, you can refer to my playlist to see what I'm doing there with TituElite, and you'll get a lot of these mechanics set in motion and set into play. Okay, we are completely alone. Nobody could hold the rhythm of Guglielmi, and now Vauquelin can take this home alone at 85. As you can see, we've got already the sprint enable, 1.7 kilometers to the finish line. But since this is a mountain stage, I'm going to sprint only on the final meters. And 600 meters to go. Let's go. Let's sprint. And what a perfect use of energy. Look at this. Our red bar is disappearing now, and here is the finish line. What a perfect use of energy. And
it's a solo
the win
victory for
to
Kevin
Kevin
Vauquelin.
Vauquelin. So, that is one mountain stage example and giving you everything you need to know about mechanics. So now, I'm going to do a cut, and I'll do exactly the same for a sprinter. I'm going to
The
choose
tail
a
enders are
flat
still coming in.
stage, and I'm going to choose a good sprinter, and I'm going to choose to show you what you should do in the last 15 kilometers or so to the line. So now here we are in an example of a sprint stage. So I'm going to show you the mechanics that I find useful and the best way that I found useful to do sprints in this game. Take note that I've only played the Pro Cyclist mode and with a stage racer slash puncher, so sprinting is not something that I'm very acquainted, but I'm going to use my knowledge from the last year's game, and I think it's very similar. So, Jonathan Millen, here Jonathan Millen will be my Pro Cyclist avatar, let's say that. It's going to be the replacing of your Pro Cyclist. It's one of the best sprinter. Unfortunately, he got a -1 on the race day condition, affecting his sprinter and acceleration, but nevertheless, I think we should be doing well. So, in the final 25 kilometers, what you should do, I've put my sprint train in reverse order, with Pedersen going to be my lead out, my last lead out, because he's the best sprinter after Millen. Then Stuyven, because he is the best flat rider. Then Kirsch, very good on flat as well. Consomi, very good. Edwards Tunes, 76 on flat. And this guy was my water boy, so this guy will not be on the sprint train. And then Mr. Vazek. In order to do a sprint train, I want a lead out, and I want 3 other riders to do the pull. I think that's the right amount of riders for a sprint train, because if you put more riders, it will be a clusterfuck, to be honest, and it's only going to impact your ability to put your rider at the helm of the race. So I'm going to take all these guys that are in reserve order and put them at the front at 85, and selecting Milan that I put on group 1. And now I'm going to speed up to kilometer 10, and I'm going to put the guys that I don't need, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4
The peloton has
Tunes,
slowed down a bit.
I think. Yeah, I think so. So this guy will be in my wheel that we are not going to need. Tunes as well. We are not going to need them for the sprint train, so they are going to be in Milan's wheel. So nobody can follow Milan's. 15 kilometers to the line. Let's speed this to kilometer 10. Because I will do my sprint train at kilometer 9. Is where I find the most effective, the most efficient way to do a sprint train is at kilometer 9, sorry. And here we are, kilometer 9. So let's now do our sprint train. Milan Pedersen, going to the wheel of Pedersen. Pedersen Stuyven, Stuyven Kirsch, Kirsch finally into Kozoni, and Vasek can drop into the wheel of the last guy. So I like to do gel on the first 2 guys on the sprint, and doing effort cursor at full out 99 And here you can even use
While
the
the
super
pack is
leader
getting close to
if you
finish
have
line,
the super
everybody
leader
seems to agree
enabled,
that the stage will be won in a sprint.
especially for the first guy and the third to last guy to set your sprint train. 7 kilometers to the line. I like to give the gel to the third guy on the sprint. Okay. Gonzoni has no more red bar, so I'm going to switch now for Kirsch. Kirsch is going to be my next pull. 6 kilometers to the line. I'm going to give gel to Pedersen, my main lead out. Now let's go Kirsch.
This climb is feared by many riders. The percentages are very high.
Very good. He's
Only
pulling
5
us ahead.
kilometers left.
Very, very good. Now 5 kilometers, I forgot, but let's give the Jonathan Millen the gel. It's around 5 kilometers. I only give him on 4.3. Let's hope the gel is going to be active soon. Now Kirsch is gone. Let's use Stuyven at 99. Let's drop Kirsch. Stuyven should be a very good rider on the flat, so it's going to be hard for everybody to reach him. We are getting blocked, but we are going to go into the left side of the road, and 2 kilometers we are going to start sprint with the lead out, Pedersen in this case, and as you can see, he's pulling Millen a lot. Now Pedersen is gone. Pause the game and sprint on the final 700 meters with your sprinter, in this case Jonathan Millen, and you should be winning this. And indeed, even Toons at the third place. So Jonathan Millen is the winner of this mythical Champs-Élysées arrival, which I took as an example of a flat stage. Of course, the last stage of the Tour de France, the arrival to Champs-Élysées. So Jonathan Millen did very well, and as you can see, it's the same thing as last year's game. 9 kilometers, the way to set your sprint train, and that's about it. That's it indeed for this example, and that's it about the ultimate guide for the Pro Cyclist in the Pro Cyclist Manager 24. Follow my gameplay of the Pro Cyclist Manager 24 in the Pro Cyclist Mode with TituElite, a stage racer slash puncher, and you'll see these mechanics and this guy put in action, and you can learn some other things that I didn't cover on this tutorial on that series, and I'm sure you will have a lot of fun. So thanks so much for watching. I hope this ultimate guide to Pro Cyclist Mode in the Pro Cyclist Manager 24 was useful to you. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I hope I do some more guides on games that I'm proficient to. So thanks so much. My name is TituElite. I hope to see you in my gameplays, and check out the playlists on the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please drop it a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and leave me a comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. My name is TituElite. I hope to see you next time for the gameplay or another guide. Bye bye and take care.